The absence of 14-time Roland Garros champion Rafael Nadal unleashes a sea of opportunity at this year's clay court slam, though two of the top title contenders, Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic, are set to meet earlier than expected, which might prevent both men from achieving even more history. The past few Monte Carlo champions, Rublev and Tsitsipas, join them in the top half, while the likes of Medvedev, Rune, and Ruud reside in the bottom portion. I'll look at which men have the best chances of making it to the championship weekend, before predicting who I believe will take it all, here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. World number one Carlos Alcaraz will start against Italian qualifier Flavio Cobolli and could then meet Daniil in round 2, Daniil Medvedev in the third, Cam Norrie in the round of 16, Stefanos Tsitsipas in the quarters, Novak in the semis, and Daniil Medvedev in the finals. Alcaraz's section looks pretty normal, especially in this little mini part. The main thing that sticks out to me there is that opening round clash between Daniil Medvedev and Brandon Nakashima. I honestly expect Brandon to pull off the upset there, as he's been playing very solid tennis lately, making the Lyon semifinals. Meanwhile, Shapo has had a dismal 2023 season thus far and has never made it past the second round in Paris. Brandon is definitely capable of taking out the Canadian, as he ousted Dennis at last year's Wimbledon Championships. Lorenzo Musetti has seemingly recovered from his poor 2023 start, making the quarterfinals of Monte Carlo and the semis of Barcelona. He's on a path to play Cam Norrie in the third round, which I think will happen. I'd favor the Italian in that hypothetical matchup, as he seems far more comfortable in Paris, nearly upsetting Djokovic and Tsitsipas the past couple of years. Norrie, meanwhile, struggles a lot in slams, only making the second week twice in a major. If I were Carlitos, I'd be more fearful of Lorenzo than Cam, even though the Brit did beat him in the Rio finals earlier this season. Musetti seems to rise to the occasion of playing those big matches, as he did eat that one little thing in beating Novak in Monte Carlo earlier in the clay court swing. Alcaraz, though, is coming into the slam as the man to beat, winning Barcelona and Madrid. The Spaniard did suffer that shock exit in Rome, which I think was mainly due to fatigue with all the matches he'd played in the spring and in the early part of the clay swing. Still, I think his level exceeds that of anyone here, so I'm going to have him advance to the quarterfinals. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on Stefanos Tsitsipas' section because it's pretty basic and rather boring. Steph has had a decent clay swing, making the quarterfinals in Monte Carlo and Madrid, semis in Rome, and the finals in Barcelona. I do not see really anyone challenging him that much, as he crushed Zapata Miralles in Madrid. Schwartzman is past his prime, Korda's still recovering from that wrist injury, and Felix has been off his game for a while, and he's been struggling with shoulder and knee issues as of late. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost to Fognini in round 1. I'm putting the fit Tsitsipas through to the quarterfinals. Two-time champion Novak Djokovic opens against American Alexander Kovacevic and might play Martin Fucsovics in the second round, Alejandro Davidovich Falconer in the third, Hubie Hurkacz in the fourth, Rublev in the quarterfinals, Carlitos in the semis, and Daniil in the final. I don't see anyone bothering Novak in the opening 2 rounds, but that third round could be tricky, as he could get Alejandro Davidovich Falconer, who beat him in Monte Carlo last year. The Spaniard has had solid clay results this year, making the Barcelona quarterfinals and narrowly falling in the Madrid 4th round. Alejandro does have an extremely tough first round match against 18-year-old French phenom Arthur Fils, who picked up his maiden tour title in Lyon actually today. Felix will have the entire French crowd in support in Paris, but we have to remember that this is his first Slam main draw tournament, so the experience is not there with him. For that reason, I'm going with Alejandro to win that one. Hubie Hurkacz is another talented player in this section, but the Pole has the tough opener on his hands too, playing Belgian David Goffin. Novak has not had a good clay season at all, especially for his standards, coming in here titleless, and he's not made it past the quarterfinals in any of those 3 tournaments he's played in. There were some elbow concerns as well for the Serb, but Djokovic remains adamant that he is fully fit for the tournament and ready to go. Even though he has not been at his top level, Djokovic still clears anyone here, so I'll be surprised if he did not make it through to the Elite 8. Next, Monte Carlo champion Andrey Rublev is projected to play compatriot Karen Khachanov in the 4th round, though both men have challenging paths to making it there. Karen could play 2015 champion Stan Wawrinka in the third round, which I do think will happen despite both Kokkinakis and Evans being there. Then Laslo Djere is not an easy opening round opponent for Rublev, as the Serbian is very, very solid on the dirt. Even though I put Andrey as a strong title contender, I would not be surprised if he bit the dust there. American Ben Shelton, meanwhile, has been handed yet another brutal draw, playing streaky Italian Lorenzo Sonego in round 1. This section is tough, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if neither Russian made it through to the second week, but I am pretty confident in Rublev's slam prowess and overall ability, which is why I'm putting him into the Elite 8. Transitioning to the bottom half, Monte Carlo and Rome finalist Holger Rune has a very tough draw, as he could meet strong clay court Sebastian Baez in round 2, who nearly upsets Zverev in Paris last year. Also, shout out to Gael Monfils, who will play his first slam since AO 2022. 31st seed Miomir Kecmanovic is also a tough out really on any surface, so Rune needs to be careful with that one too. The bottom part of this section is also tough, as there's yet another title contender, Taylor Fritz, who made 3 clay semifinals this year, including Monte Carlo. Taylor is honestly not a solid slam player though, as he's only made the second week twice, and he's never even made it past the third round in Paris. His chances of getting over that hump this year aren't that great, as he could play Francisco Cerundolo in the third round. The Argentine excels on the dirt, as he made the Rome quarterfinals and Lyon final. I do have Cerundolo ousting Fritz there to make it to the second week. I'm then putting Rune through to make the quarterfinals. Now, one of Rune's best friends on tour, Casper Ruud, will start his runner-up defense against Elias Ymer and could then face Sasha Bublik, then Botic van de Zandschulp, then Tommy Paul, Holger in the quarterfinals, Daniil in the semis, and Carlos in the final. Casper's draw is okay in my opinion. Bublik, Zhang, Lajovic, and Van de Zandschulp are all great players that he could face in the first week, but this being best of 5 pretty much only aids Ruud. I think the top part of this section is particularly interesting, as Madrid finalist Jan-Lennart Struff has a tough opener against AO quarterfinalist Yuri Lehechka. 16th seed Tommy Paul is in danger of an upset in round 2, as he could possibly meet Nicolas Jarry, who's earned 2 clay titles this season. I was going to have Ruud move through this section, but I remembered that this is his first time defending a lot of points at one time. Typically, he's only used to defending those 250 points, but this time is 1300, which is a big deal, especially considering how mid his season has been going thus far. The pressure will be on the Norwegian heavy this fortnight, which is why I would not have him advancing out of this section. Instead, let's shake things up a bit and have Nicolas Jarry through, cause why not? Italian Ionic Center section is next to observe, and the 21-year-old could have a tricky second rounder on his hands against Daniel Altmaier, who reached the Madrid quarterfinals as a lucky loser. Grigor Dimitrov is a possible third round opponent for the 8th seed, and the Bulgarian is coming off a final showing in Geneva. Looking down, Francis Tiafoe enters Roland Garros with a clay title under his belt from Houston earlier in that season, but I am worried that the American might suffer yet another early exit in Paris, as Alexei Popyrin or Madrid semifinalist Aslan Karatsev in round 2 will be tough. Francis has only won a single match at Roland Garros in his career, so Paris definitely is not his best slam. His difficult draw doesn't help matters either, as he's projected to play Alexander Zverev in round 3. Slovak Alex Molcan could be a problem there too. I think Dimitrov, Zverev, and Tiafoe all have solid chances at making it out of this section, but I will stick with the higher ranked center to pull through. Lastly, world number 2 Daniil Medvedev will start against qualifier Thiago Seyboth-Wild and could play Quinton Halys in the second round, Yoshihito Nishioka in the third, Borna Coric in the fourth, Jannik in the quarters, Casper in the semis, and Carlos in the final. Daniil will be pretty happy with his draw overall, as his first true threat to me would come in the 4th round, where he could meet Borna Coric, who reached the Madrid semifinals and Rome quarters. The Croatian though is not the best performer at slams, as the last time he made a second week at a major was at the 2020 US Open. The Croatian also has the likes of 2-time finalist Dominic Thiem and young talented Brit Jack Draper to potentially contend with there. Draper though has a very difficult opener in Argentine player Tomic Etcheverry, who made the finals in Houston. Regardless of whoever he faces, I'm choosing Daniil to make it out of here to make the last 8. Looking at the projected quarterfinalists, we have Alcaraz versus Tsitsipas, Djokovic against Rune, Rune versus Ruud, and Sinner taking on Medvedev. My predictions are very similar, except I have Nicolas Jarry there instead of Casper Ruud. In the semifinals, I have Stefanos Tsitsipas meeting Novak Novak Djokovic and Holger Rune facing Jannik Sinner. Then in the finals, I'm going Novak Sinner with the Serbian taking the title. I went back and forth with my prediction for a while. First, I had Tsitsipas beating Novak and taking the tournament, but basically my main reason for having Novak pull through instead is the factor of this being best of 5, which makes him even harder to beat. Looking back, Novak played solid in Rome, and that loss to Holger there was not that bad. There's no denying that Djokovic plays his best tennis in slams, and I truly think that he set himself up to peak at the right moment this fortnight. There is a lot riding on this slam though for Novak, as if he's victorious, he'll set the all-time men's slam record at 23. With Nadal on the verge of retirement, that's a big deal. The pressure will be on, but if anyone can handle it, it's Novak. Having Stefanos beat Carlitos is definitely a choice, especially when you consider that the Spaniard has a 4-0 head-to-head over the Greekman. I honestly just have a gut feeling that Stefanos will come in here and shake things up, and his form is definitely solid enough to take advantage of a perhaps lower level Alcaraz. I am not thinking that much about snubbing Ruud in all honesty. I know Jerry is very risky, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if him or even Jan-Lennard Struff made it that far. I really was on the fence with having Holger, Andrey, and Jannik going as far as I had them going because of their difficult draws. Holger's is by far the toughest out of all the top seeds, as he could face Taylor Fritz in the 4th round. And then Zverev could always decide to wake things up and make a deep run, but I do not think that he's at that level just yet. I can definitely see Daniil making it all the way to the finals, but for some reason, I cannot picture him winning the title, even with how much he's improved on clay this season. I still think he needs another year or so before winning here in the best of 5 format. Now, Daniil Medvedev can reclaim the world #1 ranking even if he does not win Roland Garros. Currently, the Russian would have to make the semifinals to have a shot at overtaking Carlos Alcaraz. Novak would need to reach the final, while Tsitsipas would need to win it all. Looking forward to the opening day of play, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Andrey Rublev, and Karen Khachanov are in action on Sunday. Other men in the top half of the draw will play Monday, including Medvedev, while a good portion of the men's bottom half will play Tuesday. That's all I have for this draw preview, and let me know in the comments whether you agree with me having Djokovic take it all. If not, who do you pick to raise the trophy on 2 Sundays from now? Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post update videos throughout the tournament. Thank you for watching. I'm Christian Bass Knight, and I'll see y'all next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.